My tip today is the winning tip for how to overcome the fear of public speaking. That anxiety or that stress that rises up in you every time you want to speak up, but you don't. If you think you're scared of public speaking, then stay with me and I'm going to prove to you that it is not fear that's holding you back.
All eyes on me.
Hello, I'm Jane. When people find out what I do as a living, they're always shocked and say, "Oh, that must be so scary. I can't possibly continually stand in front of people or in front of cameras or in front of a group and speak eloquently and easily. I'd be filled with fear. I'm terrified of public speaking. I get anxious. I get stressed out. Before I even open my mouth, I'm so worried." And I look at them and I think, well, that's kind of odd because this person's running a great and successful restaurant. I know that person is taking care of a very sick child at home. That person just moved jobs. And they're saying that public speaking, that speaking up is fearful to them, but they're doing all these other things. So then I say to them, so how do you know that it's fear holding you back? What are you sensing? And without fail, every single one of them speaks to physical sensations. They all say, well, the first thing is my blood rushes to my face, or my palms become sweaty, or my heart races, or my voice locks up and gets all squeaky. And the minute this happens, I can't even get out a single word. Right. So all of these sensations that you're experiencing, you're labeling them as this is me being fearful, right? The sweaty palms, the racing heart, this has got to be fear. I sense this before I speak. Therefore, I'm fearful of public speaking. This can't possibly be true because every single day, all over the world, all of us do things that fill us with fear, but it doesn't stop us doing them. Think about it. If you have become a parent, that's pretty scary. If you've changed cities, in some people's cases, changed countries, changed continents, if you've moved to new jobs, if you've opened a new business or taken on a new hobby, all of those things can induce fear in us, but it doesn't hold us back. In fact, in most instances, we rush into those experiences. We choose to, we willingly run towards doing that. Now, sometimes, of course, it's a necessity. You need to look after an elderly parent or you need to switch jobs. So yes, that would be driven by necessity. But all of those things induce fear, and yet we choose to do them. Take it one step further and look at people who choose deliberately to do fearful things. So not because of circumstance, but because of choice. I'm talking to those people out there who dive with sharks, who jump off bridges, who go paragliding and all these dangerous things, even riding crazy roller coasters. They choose to do it. Now, if you speak to all these people who have made these choices and decisions to take on these fear-inducing things, and you ask them, as I have, how do you feel right before you do it? They're like, oh my goodness, my heart is racing, my tongue is too big for my mouth feels dry, my shoulders are tightening up, just this adrenaline is pumping through it. So what's happening here is you're feeling all these similar sensations, but now you're telling me, well, that's excitement. This is by choice, this is excitement. And that's where the tip comes in. What you have to do to overcome this fear of public speaking, you have to reframe it in your own mind. If you constantly go along and in any situation where you're about to speak up, you feel those sensations, and you will. They're not going to go away. You feel the sweaty palms, you feel the racing heart. Instead of immediately jumping to your default and saying, well, that's it, I'm fearful, can't open my mouth, I want you to reframe it. Take a breath and say, I recognize this. This is excitement. This is adrenaline. This is my body getting me ready. So when I do open my mouth, I'm going to be brilliant. Right? We have to reframe it. The longer you continue labeling those sensations, which you will experience as fear, the longer you will believe that you're too scared to speak up. The moment you reframe it and you say, this is excitement and I'm ready to do this, you'll jump into it and come out the other side. Exactly like all those other brave things you've done every day of your life. When you changed jobs, you moved countries, there were times you sat and thought, I'm so scared to move to that new place or take on that new position at the office or head up my volunteer club. But you went into it and you thought, but it's going to be amazing. And when I come out the other side, I'm going to feel so exhilarated and so proud of myself, knowing I did it. I took that job. I had that child. I took on that new position at my club. So whatever it is that you're facing when you sense yourself becoming fearful about public speaking, it's not fear, and you simply have to reframe it. Now, I know I use the word simply, but it really does take effort. You need to be intentional, you need to be cognizant, and you need to go in with a plan. So whether you're in a business setting and you're going into a meeting or a discussion, or you're in a social setting or a club setting, or whatever your life involves where you're standing up and speaking to other people, or you choose to stand up and join a conversation or remain seated, I want you to have an approach, a way to go into it where you set your mind right before you go in and you know you're going to move forward with this, you're going to master these emotions, and you're going to come out the other side. So what you're going to do is homework, and this is old school. You're going to take a pen and a piece of paper, yes, and you're going to write one sentence along the lines of, I am excited to speak up because I am knowledgeable about this topic and I'm passionate and eager to share it with my listeners. Okay? You can write a sentence along the lines of, I can't wait to speak up in the next meeting because I know so much about this topic and I really want to share it and look like a thought leader in front of all my colleagues. I want to be that person. You need to physically write the sentence out. And as I always say the sentence as you're writing it and then repeat it, read it back aloud 3 or 4 times. You can do this every day if you need to, but you have to actually start to take that first step where you say, yes, I do want the leadership roles. I do want people to hear my voice. I do want to share my thoughts and opinions. Because as I say over and over again, everybody's voice, your voice, is worthy of being heard. So write that sentence down. Phrase it, frame it, however relates to your life, and then read it through aloud. Do it each day prior to getting up, when you get up, so that you're ready and set for the day. Now, when you know you're going into a situation and you're wanting to speak up, as I said, whether it's a class or a meeting or whatever, and I can't imagine all the different parts of your life, so however it relates to you, I want you to set yourself a goal, a very simple goal, and that goal is that you will speak up in that meeting or that class or that club or that family get together within a certain period of time. So you're going into class and you say, this is an hour-long class. I am going to contribute something within 5 or 10 minutes that the discussion opens to everybody. Or I'm going into a meeting, and when we're all discussing it in a group, I'm going to set myself a goal that before halfway through, I'm going to contribute something. I'm going to speak up and literally make my voice heard. You need to go in with that goal. If you just go in and think, oh, well, this will be the meeting I'll speak up in, it'll just pass and you'll walk out and think, next time. So set yourself a time goal when you're going to go in there and you're going to speak up in that meeting. Start off with things, if you really are fearful, start off with things that are simple phrases. And the easiest one to go to is just an agreement, where all you do is you say, people are talking and having a discussion, you say, oh yes, I agree with Raj, Or, Susan made a good point. Something simple and easy like that, where it's not requiring much thought or stress, but you're speaking up and you're actually making your voice heard, literally, and you're hearing yourself say it. Then the next meeting you go in, you set yourself a goal, you're going to affirm someone else, but then you're going to add a bit more. And start off with smallish contributions until you get your feet under you. Now, this could take a period of time, but it's the only way you're going to get out the gate and move forward with your goal of becoming a confident and eloquent communicator. Now, in terms of what people always think of public speaking, they imagine someone standing up in front of a room full of people or an auditorium or whatever. That's not the case. As I've said before, and I'm going to say again, all speaking is public speaking. Whether you're talking to one person or 500, you are doing public speaking. So don't get tripped up with the thought that I don't need to work on this because I'm never standing up in front of groups of people with a spotlight on me. No, public speaking is everyday interactions. So my challenge to you is set that as your goal this week. Write your sentence that relates to your life and your goal of communicating. Write it down, say it aloud, and then set your goals for each of those situations you go into. I guarantee it works, because remind yourself, when you feel the sweaty palms and the racing heart, that's simply adrenaline, and it's getting you ready to be your most brilliant. I guarantee this works. If you want to jump to the next level of this, the next level of becoming better at the fear of public speaking, then link to my next video up there, and I guarantee we're going to layer on the next set of skills that'll move you forward with your goals. As always, please like and subscribe, and please leave comments. Your comments are so helpful in helping me to determine what we want to talk about. I'll see you next time, and remember, as always, the time to speak up is now.
All eyes on me.